So I'm Jacqueline, and the film that I did for the final project is called Loveless, and it is so Loveless is a 2017 film directed by Andrei Zigonstev, which features an estranged couple going through a brutal divorce, and both are seen with new partners and are happy, but still share a 12-year-old son together who they neglect. And after being away from home from 2 days because they are both with their other partners, they both come back to realize that their son is missing. And then the movie then follows the couple as they search for their son and ultimately never find him. So Andrei Zigonstev, who's the director of this film, so he's a director and screenwriter and is the winner of the Venice Film Festival. In 2003, the Cannes Film Festival in 2011, 2014, 2017. He's also a two-time Academy Awards winner and a BAFTA Awards nominee. He's also a winner of the Golden Globes and for his film Leviathan, and then recently he won the Best Foreign Film for Loveless. The first character that stood out in this film was who is Zahenia, who is played by Mariana Spivak, and that is the mother. And she never wanted to have a child. Her 12-year-old son was an accident, and she was too afraid to have an abortion. And her then boyfriend at the time, who was her husband in the film, was in love with her and pressured her to kind of have the baby. And once he was born, she said that she felt no attachment to him and resented both herself and the baby for feeling like she was forced into motherhood. And she's very cold towards the child, has really nothing warm ever to say towards him. And the only time that she ever shows like warmth or concern is when he is missing. But then again, she literally did not know that he was missing for 2 days, and the only reason that she found out was because the school called her and said that he had not been at school. The next character is Boris, who is played by Alexei Rosen, and that's the father in this film. And so he had an affair with a much younger woman and got her pregnant, which led to the two of them finding separate partners and being happy with their respective partners. So he has another child on the way, and the mother-to-be is incredibly excited about their baby. And Boris is like more nurturing towards the son, but still very detached. And when they were talking about the divorce, they were both arguing as to who should get the child because neither of them really wanted to parent their son anymore. And then Matvey Novik plays the son. And he is a very timid child who cries all the time. The mother says that his crying is like such a problem, and it's literally because he can't possibly like understand and like fathom the divorce, and he has a really hard time seeing his parents constantly arguing. And there's like moments before his kidnapping where you see him absolutely break down in tears. It's like so gut-wrenching to watch. The child actor did such an incredible job, I believe. I honestly think he's probably the most talented actor, especially for his age, because he really sold like the pain and the suffering that he was going through. And he's also the one that goes missing. And then so the themes and cinematography of this film, so a big one is parental neglect, and then the state of lovelessness and how that affects a marriage, how that affects a child, and how that causes people to see other partners. Also bleak environments. Their house, pretty much from the very start of the film, you could tell is their home, but it doesn't feel like a home. It is very cold and distant, and everyone is sleeping in separate rooms, and there really is no interaction between any of the family members at all. And if there is, it is all negative. And then another large theme is self-absorption. Both parents, especially at the beginning of the film, are shown just so enthralled with their new partners and really only give any attention to their son when he's in the same room as them, but that would require them to actually be home and not at work or with their like new families. And one of the really cool things that I noticed is the cinematographer used really harsh lighting, and the color schemes were all denatured grays and browns to portray the loneliness and the emptiness like of the film, and to really show how each person was living a complete separate life, and the parents were capable of making each other like making themselves happy, but they weren't capable of making the child happy. And so this child was always put in a very like white light, like it almost like foreshadowed that he was going to get taken or perhaps killed, because of he almost was like looked like a little angel, and just very empty and hollow. And one of the cool things that I noticed was that the camera remained stationary for a lot of the shots. So it would be in the corner of a room, and you'd be able to see either the parents with their new partners or them with their family, which I thought was really cool, because then you could observe the whole room and see everyone's dynamic, and you could see that so many people were just so cold and distant towards each other. And I think that was a really smart idea for capturing like the essence of the film. One of the really cool things that I really noticed to capture intensity, they would use a static / immobile shot. So they would place specifically in the moment where they're either going to see they're about to see a mangled body of a boy. They don't know if it's their son or not. And the camera stays completely on the parents' faces the entire time. You don't see the body except for a small glimpse at the end. But they're able to see both parents' emotions and how the father is almost emotionless while the mother is sobbing, and how she starts like hitting him because he's not showing emotion, and he's basically just saying that like the kid's dead at this point, like they're not going to find him again, and she's so frustrated that he's giving up on her. And I think the decision to keep the camera just so focused and unmoving on the two, I think it really captured their emotions, and it was like allowed for the actors to really just express themselves in the way that they probably thought like did the film justice. Okay. And then this film actually does take place in Moscow, and it's filmed in a lot of abandoned buildings in order to show the child search. And then it used a barren apartment to show a house but not a home. So a lot of the buildings were very empty, and it was to show, and it was like in the snow too, like it was really to showcase that this child could not make it out, like in this cold, like by himself. Like it was very obvious that the child was probably dead while they were searching for him, just because there was no way that like he could have lived outside or stayed outside without like freezing to death. So Russian cinematography in 2017, like how it was used in film. So in the 21st century, Russian cinema became popular internationally. And then starting from 2003, Russia's animation industry began to manufacture films, which were profitable first domestically and then abroad. And then in Russia, currently, there are around 400 private production companies, and there are around 35 film studios that rent space for shooting, when they have around like 207 shooting pavilions. So recently, film has become very, very big in Russia, and it is something that has really like taken off. So this film, Loveless, was recognized both in Russia and internationally. It was a very popular international film, and it was very highly rated. And it's a movie that I think was actually done so incredibly well, and I personally really enjoyed it. I think this was definitely my favorite movie. It was so sad and it was so dark, but I think they did such a beautiful job of capturing everyone's emotions, especially the cinematography and the color scheme that they use. I think the very bleak, cold colors really just brought out the emotion in the film that it needed. So that is my presentation. Yeah.